Hey guys, how you doing? Let's discuss loneliness, being lonely in this world. There's 1 in 6 people today that are lonely. 1 in 6. That already puts billions of people that are actually chronically lonely. Okay. And of that, 50% of us, at some point or the other, have experienced loneliness. And funny enough, this is in a world where about 6 billion people are online. Again, and the power of being online means that you're here, you can talk to someone on the other side of the world. So if normally you're supposed to talk to this village, which is always the case, right? If you're in a village, you're supposed to talk to the people around you in the village. And now you go online. Online is supposed to take you even further so that you're not just talking to people around you, you're talking to people on the other side of the world. People, from churches. If you go to church, for instance, then you can talk to them outside church as well. So it's meant to bring people together, but it's become worse. Like it's becoming a problem about loneliness. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the fact that you can actually make more friends if you think of this properly and you use online tools properly. Yeah, this topic came to me actually from my customers. So I'm a startup founder, obviously. So I'm, the CEO of Monesave Orukka. Monesave is a fintech app, and we allow users to tap to pay with your ring. So imagine this is my bank, basically. Imagine your banking app being on your wrist and your ring, so you can tap to pay with this. You can tap to receive. This is actually an AI ring, so that means you can actually talk to the ring to transfer money. I use this to transfer money. So if you take this, you can actually transfer money from my account. Very risky. We haven't launched the ring one. We've got the bracelet one that we're working with a few banks on. But I say that because I have so many customers that have come to me, okay? And they specifically say to me, they're all right, but they say to me, hey, we haven't seen you on TV, we haven't seen you on like Bloomberg, we haven't seen you in a lot of places, and it seems to me that the ring is sort of like, niche product for a very tiny subset. And it got me thinking, and I said, yes, it is. But it's a lot. So I want to talk about it. I want to link them all together. So we link being lonely and how people think they are lonely, right? When in fact they are not as lonely as they think they are. The approach, right, is what's important. Okay. So let's talk about that real quick, right? In terms of where we stand right now, right? So I can tell you now, right, the hardest part, and let's go back to the idea of being in a village, right? So being in a village, if you remember, right, I know this for a fact because I went to school in Nigeria, okay? Grew up in Ireland, if you can't tell from the accent. Grew up in Ireland and I went to school in Nigeria. But I remember, right, and I kid you not, going in, okay, you would go into a party, same thing today as well. If you should, forget about me for a minute. Let's go into a party. If you walk into a party, you know how uncomfortable that is. Like going to a party, the first thing you do is try and look for who you know, okay? And if you can't find anyone you know, guess what people do these days? They go online and they go on their phone and just pretend to be going through a notification. You guys know yourself. If you do that, just give me a like or just say +1. But we do that now. So we all go online and pretend like we're looking at something on our phones, right? Rather than make that effort. So I'm just saying how uncomfortable it is. Incredibly uncomfortable it is to make friends. But that's how you make friends, right? That's exactly how you make friends. You have to feel awkward. You have to feel vulnerable. You have to feel that you're going to say something silly, okay? But it does happen, and that's actually how you make friends. I was listening to, Scott Galloway. Scott Galloway is a professor. Guys, check him out. He's really, really good in terms of just his, down to earth conversations. But he's been saying this as well about, the dating market and the fact that people kind of find it hard to actually go out and date because now they can just go online, okay, and just search or swipe left, swipe right, social media checks these days, such that they can't even go online and talk to girls anymore. The girls can't talk to boys anymore because they can just hang out online, okay, and again, when you're online, you're behind the fade or you have like 10, 12, 15 fake accounts, right? Which I think my point is, it just takes away the whole social part of things so that social skill is missing now. Yeah, and we're social creatures, so there's no hiding it. We long for it. Yeah, social media was good. Okay, Facebook, Instagram, all these things were good because it brought people together. But the downside of that now becomes that we now become like almost lazy to actually make that effort, right? Social media that was supposed to be a connection to your past, to your friends, to your childhood friends, to people outside the world, has now become a place where it's a bit negative, okay, that we're addicted to it and it's being used for something else completely. That's not good. Okay, so hopefully you get something from this video, which is, hey, guys, look into how to use social media for the positive side of things, which is making friends, finding a group. I was checking online the other day, right? And I kid you not, I looked online and there's a niche, okay, I think it's called a silent disco, okay? And it's a silent disco. Check it online, guys. The silent disco for metal bands. And the voice of the metal band was so, I don't want to say weird, but it was just wrong. came out wrong to me. I looked at it and I couldn't believe how people enjoyed that. Guys, it was packed full. It was full, like full to all the way to the end. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow, who in their right mind listens to just metallic music and silently as well? It's a niche product, okay? But believe it or not, there are people who will like it. At least, so I'll talk about my ring, right? So that's why I was coming to right now. Bring it up as well. So we have our payment ring. When I talk to people, the average person I speak to, first thing they say to me is, "Oh, I just pay with my phone." Okay, yes, you can pay with your phone. That's fine. That's 90% of the people. But before people started paying with their phones, people used to pay with cash, and only a very small percentage of people paid with phones. And now everyone pays with phone, and only a very small percentage of people pay with rings. You see where we're going? So that there's a transition, okay? And if we take away that tech side of things, let's talk about the 0.1% that pay with their rings. 0.1% that wear rings. What number is that? Yeah, and I always try to say that to my customers. Well, they don't believe when I say it. I say, hey, we've got 55 customers in 55 countries. It's like, what? Yeah, because you're not seeing them online doesn't mean, again, if you wear this ring, I mean, no one thinks this is a payment ring. So you just see it and you're like, okay, this looks nice because it looks, it's almost like a wedding ring. You can assume it's a wedding ring. But with this, you think it's an aura ring, but it's actually a payment ring. How many people do you think have got this? Crazy. That's, again, if you look at it, if it says 0.1%, 0.1%, that's millions of customers. That's bigger than the largest bank. And that's 0.1% of the world, right? It's so much that actually the numbers we have is crazy that my team can't handle the amount of queries we have, right? After this video, I'm going back to work. It's nighttime here, but we're working 247. We're not as big, okay? And for good reason as well. I mean, I was talking to, and I'll talk about VCs in one of my videos on raising money and raising funds and starting a business. But we just started a business, so we don't just go from here to here, okay? And I've worked in banking all my life, so I know the risk of growing too quickly. I also know the risk of taking money, okay, and losing money. And what customers do, customers suffer when businesses go down. So I'm very careful there. But pending that, I repeat, we have 0.1%, and that's always the case. People think when you go out there, and it could be the same with me as well. I could turn around and go, wait a minute, oh my goodness, it's only 0.1% of the world that cares about wearing rings and tapping to pay with their rings. That's a lot of people. That's millions of people. The same thing I talked about with the example of the video. Someone's playing with a video, and all they do is they play video games. That's it. They play video games. How many millions of people? Okay, now it's become millions of people. But I remember as a kid, my brother was a kid, and I liked video games, but I wasn't as obsessed as my brother was. He loved it to a T and would always play video games nonstop. We laughed at him at the idea when I made a joke once to be like, hey, you're going to do this as a profession. He might just do it. And he laughed. We laughed about it and obviously stopped there and went straight to school. But here's the point. If he had carried on doing that, even though it's just him in the whole Nigeria, if he had done that and then came across and then went into South Africa, went into other countries and you have 10 people in Nigeria, 20, 50 people in the world, that's a lot. That's a community. It took me long to get that, but that's what I'm trying to get at, guys. That no matter what you think you're going through, no matter what you think that you like and you think you're the only person on earth that likes it, believe it or not, that small 0.001% across 9 billion people, okay, 7 billion people climbing, that's millions of people that like what you think you're the only person on earth that likes. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? So please, guys, be happy with yourself, okay? Never think that your idea is silly. Never think that you have a niche and it's just you, okay? If you have a niche and it's just you, just do what you do, go online, and that's what the online platforms are for. Create a group and you'll be surprised how many people like it. Yeah, and I'm leaving it now, so you can see us. I'm wearing a ring. When I was still, there are a lot of people. I think if you said payment rings, there are people who wear payment rings and they come to me and they go, obviously, they might have bought it before us. So there are people who actually do payment rings, and they're surprised. The only ones to do an AI. Okay, so we do the voice ring as well, but there are people that have been doing payment rings for a while. So the payment rings again, same thing. People are surprised. They're like, whoa, okay, and then they join. Do you see what I mean? So you see it, people use it and they join it. We've never advertised, apart from me advertising like this. We've never advertised, but people just come, people find out, and they gravitate towards you. And that's how you form your community. Okay. So I'm going to stop there without rambling on too long, right? So just to summarize, number one, no matter what you think you're doing, that you're the most unique person and it'll just be you, or you're quirky or weird, never think that if you're not, because the permutation. I always say this to my team, right? So this is the last point I'm going to make, a promise. I say this to my team. Think of the worst creature on earth. Like, I'll tell you how the worst creature it is. Like, I'll guess one. Christians. Christians, we have, the devil. The devil is supposed to be the worst creature on earth. Okay. The devil is hated so much that we created a section of the Bible we say is in hellfire. We created the word hellfire to say this is it. This is the worst scenario possible. And if you don't do well, you die and you go to this hellfire, the worst person on earth. That means everybody on earth should be hating the devil. Everyone should hate the devil. But guess what? People worship the devil. There's a small set. There's 7 billion people on earth. I can tell you about 6.9999 billion people, right? Do not like the devil. They're scared of the devil. They'll never go near the devil. They do anything and they hear the devil, they're scared because that's it. That's the truth, right? That's bad. But there are people that actually worship the devil. They're Satan worshippers. Yeah. Again, I'm not casting any judgment here. I'm just telling you that if that exists, right? The permutation, we're humans, right? We're gonna stop studying biology in university. But the point I'm trying to make is the combination of all of our DNA means that no matter what you think you have, there's a one person, 2 people, 3 people out there that are going through the same thing and actually enjoy what you're doing so that you can form a community. I'm going to end with that, okay, guys? So don't think you're alone. Okay, I'll summarize with that. Don't think you're alone. Discover. That's what the online is for. Don't spend time just browsing and browsing and scrolling and scrolling. Go in to discover who likes what you like online. If you have someone who likes what you like, form your community, form your group. Social creatures. We don't have to be alone anymore. Okay. I joined Orukka, by the way. If you love playing with your rings, if you love Lord of the Rings, and that was how I came into this as well. I love my rings. Yeah, so I wear a lot around my hands. But I just loved Lord of the Rings, the Godfather and all that. I really love the whole pinky. A lot of people still wear pinkies. That's where it's come from. So I'm not going to say I'm niche actually, even though I claim or people think it's crazy to think about that. I'm niche in terms of liking rings and then wanting to do more with the rings. Yeah, so we have, the payment rings, we have fitness rings, we have payment and fitness, we have payments, AI and rings. So the things we're doing with the rings is just crazy. And it just comes from me as, as a ring fan, which is different from, and the ring fan, the banker. So ring fan and banking is what brought this together, which is very different from any other person who just wants to start a business. So I'm going to stop there and I'll go for a quick break. I'll go and do some work for my customers across the world. Thank you very much for those who are part of the Orukka community. Continue to be with us. We spend time together. We're social creatures. And if you see another person wearing a ring and paying with their ring, just give them a quick knuckle or say, welcome to the community. Take care. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.